Hello YouTube, welcome to another video on the Jobava London opening. And today we're gonna look at the bishop g4 move specifically. So let's get to the starting position. Of course you can reach the Jobava London via different move orders, but this is Jobava London. And in this position today we're gonna look at bishop g4. Now bishop g4 is an odd move here. You can see by the engine evaluation it isn't the best. But this is actually a move that you will face a lot. Especially in bullet, because a lot of players pre-move something with the e-pawn and then lose their queen. So sometimes people try this just for that reason. But other than that, they just want to get the bishop out, and that's also a way. You can just see it because they feel like it's hard for me to push my pawn now, and maybe that gives me some problems. But actually, this is what we want to see. And this is also something that pretty much every course agrees on. So I've made my repertoire using a lot of courses, and mainly the courses of Daniel Naroditsky and Olexandr Bortnyk, and also Alex Banzea. And they all recommend the same thing here, and that's always a great sign. And that's to go for f3. Now, Naroditsky and Bortnyk don't always recommend f3 in all the variations, but here it comes with tempo, and that's a big difference. So, for example, when bishop f5 happens, Banzea also recommends f3 to go for g4 later. But here it's even stronger because f3 comes with tempo immediately. So black doesn't have a move here and needs to move the bishop again. And that tremendously helps us, and even Naroditsky and Bortnyk agree that now f3 is the right plan. So that's what we do. And of course they can move the bishop back or something, but then they've just wasted the tempo basically, and we're just ready to grab the center. We can always do that later, but yeah, e4 here already is a good move, and nothing really to analyze here, because if they're gonna play their bishop here, that's because they want it outside of the pawn chain, so why would they drop it back? If they're dropping it back to f5, then why not move it there immediately? So what they're usually gonna do is go to h4. And if they drop it back to f5, you have the f5 variation with an extra tempo as well, so that's also completely fine. But they're gonna play bishop h5. Now here we're gonna go g4 to attack the bishop again, and that's why this is called a pawn storm, of course. And they need to move the bishop again. There's nothing better to do, because else they're gonna lose the bishop. And you might say, okay, this is great, we've moved some pawns, but yeah, really we're not that much ahead in development because both of us have developed two pieces. But we're gonna continue our attack actually. And now this doesn't immediately come with tempo, but in a way it does, because they need to react to this, because we're just threatening to trap the bishop. That is not something that they want. And they can go h5 here, although in this specific position it's not good, and you see the engine evaluation already goes up to +1. And that's because we can go g5, and the knight doesn't have any nice squares. If it goes here, this pawn drops, so we can just take the pawn, and we're also on this. This is complete disaster for black. If he goes back anywhere here, and let's see if the engine says anything. Yeah, knight g8 is the best move here. We can just grab the full center, and it's a bit like the other variation. If we just have this full center here, this is completely winning for us, and you can see by the evaluation, it's +2 already. You can analyze this a bit for yourself if you want, but this is completely winning. You have full control over the center, a lot of space on the queen side. On the king side, you're gonna castle queen side, and you will have an easy game from there. So h6 isn't really an option. h5. h6 is the best option here. But this is still a nice way to play for us. And here we're going to continue with e3, just making some room and getting ready to develop our bishop, and yeah, just do that. Usually they're going to play e6 here. They want to just get their other bishop out, get ready to castle, things like that. So e6, either in this position or later. The move order can change a bit, but at some point they're going to play e6. Now we're always going to develop our bishop to d3, and we're not scared of this trade. In fact, that's probably what they're gonna do, because if they don't trade, let's say they play a random move, we can actually take here, and this pawn structure is really bad for them. We can play queen d3, attacking that already. The only way to defend is to play king f7, and now they are not castling. We're ready to attack their king. This is disaster for us. We can just continue development and castle, and basically use the same plans I'm going to show you later, but in an even more advantageous way. But like the engine says, this is just completely winning. So they're going to take our bishop here, because there's nothing better to do. I mean, they can drop back, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. At any point, we can just take the bishop. So even if it's in g6 or on h7, doesn't really matter. We're going to take the bishop. Okay, the engine says knight takes here is best. We're just going to play queen d2, castle queenside. We're still going to grab the full center. This is great for us. So they're going to take our bishop, and we're going to take back with the queen. And this is important for reasons you will see later, but the queen basically needs to be on this diagonal. Doesn't matter so much on the queen side, but especially the king side, these light squares are important. And yeah, black doesn't have many options here. They usually develop the bishop. Doesn't really matter for what we're doing, but let's just show it like this. We're going to develop our knight to e2. And we always do this. Main reason is to defend our bishop, because if they take, we want to take back with the knight. We don't care if they trade. They're just helping us improve our position. Their bishop is gone. We have a strong knight. That's great for us. So if they trade, that's fine. That's one of the moves they can play here, actually. And you know what? Let's start with that variation, because that's the most common thing you see, I think. So we're going to take with the knight. They're going to play something. Again, move orders can differ here a bit. You already see that this is not the best. Actually, I think engine needs to catch up, because this is a move you see a lot. It doesn't really matter. Our plan is always the same. We're going to castle, and we're ready to play g5 next move. And they can't really do anything about it, so they just keep developing. Something like c7, you see the evaluation is already +2 right now. Something like this is going to happen in your games. And you're ready to play g5. And this is the whole idea behind the pawn storm, really. We want to push this pawn. Now, let's first look at what happens if they take. Well, if they take and we take back, you can see by the evaluation we are completely winning. And the reason is we're attacking their knight and their rook. Only thing they can do basically is try and take our rook. Because we don't have time to take the knight, because they can take this rook or check. So if you take here, that's a mistake. Because they take here, and they take here, for example. And now we're just down material, so that's not something we want. But in this variation, we can just take their rook. And now we're still attacking the knight. Of course, they can save the knight, but they don't really have a good square. In fact, they only have one square, which is g8. And I guess that's why knight d7 earlier was bad, because otherwise they could have dropped that knight back there. I'll show you that variation in a minute. But here I can pin the knight, and they can try to defend it with the king. But now you see why this queen on this diagonal was important, because we can play queen h7, and this is just a disaster for them. Yeah, there's really nothing they can do here. So we're just gonna win material, and their king is weak. We're soon gonna win the game as well. So that's that. If we go back, let's just say they play something like this. And we castle, and they play another random move. Right, so the knight is not there. You can see already it's basically the same thing. We're gonna play this. There might be other things, because I played really weird random moves, but this idea still works. If they take, you can see by the evaluation, we can go into the same line. And now the knight can go here, but it's still bad for them, because we have this check. Now in this case, they don't lose the queen. They can drop the knight back. But we have this really nice move, knight takes e6, for example. Putting some pressure, so they really need to take our knight, but if they do, we have this check. Making use of this pin. And we're gonna win material here, no matter what engine says. King d7 is best. Yeah. Oh, of course we can take. I was going here, but we can take and then win the knight next move. Let's see what happens here. It's the same thing, right? Yeah, we just take with check and we win the knight next move. No matter where they move, we win the knight. So that's also a problem. So even if they can move the knight back here and block for the moment, we have that nice idea, knight takes e6. Also in some lines, g6 is a move. If they push, we have knight takes e6 without even losing a knight. If they take, we can take here with check without even losing anything. So yeah, that's that. So in short, and let's go to, sorry, the variation. I need to pick the right variation. Yeah, this one. So this variation where we play g5. Now in this position, that's the reason they shouldn't really take. And in my experience, they usually do. But they can drop the knight back, which is the best move. And here, g6 is an important move. And like I showed you earlier, there's a great reason behind this, and also why the queen is on this diagonal. Now, I think a good inclusion for them in a lot of cases is this. Well, in this case, it doesn't actually work. Because we take here and then we come in with check, and this is just disaster for them. It's made in 12 apparently. Not gonna go through the whole checkmate, but you can see why this is winning, right? We're winning the pawn at the very least, and yeah. But they need to respond to this, and that's hard, because if they take here immediately, again, the queen comes in with check. This is disaster for them. If they push, this hangs. So we just take here. We're attacking all of their stuff. Maybe they can defend for a while. Yeah, we can even play knight takes d5, which is a really nice move. If they take this knight, we have this fork to win the queen. So this knight is invulnerable. We're threatening to go there anywhere. Now in this position, I would probably just play knight c7 check and just pick up the rook. But yeah, this is game over for them, basically. So they can't do that. They can't take this pawn, so what are they gonna do? Well, they're just gonna develop a knight or something. We're just gonna take there, and yeah, again, this is game over. No matter what they do, they can take, they can move their king, but moving the king is actually quite bad, because we win the queen already, so they kind of have to take. And yeah, we just put a rook to the g file, and this is gonna be bad for them. I mean, their king can't castle. We have an open file to work with where the king is located. We can double up rooks. Probably e4 is an idea at some point. This knight is just really strong, helping in all the attacks. h5 to shut the pawns down. This is just completely game over. And that's basically all that happens if they take our bishop here. You can play around with it, but basically g5 ideas work perfectly here. So what else can they do? They can play c5. That's not really scary. We go for queen b5 check. And basically no matter what they do, they usually block with the knight. We take this pawn here, and this is a big problem for them. Because we're attacking the knight, first of all. So if they do something random, we are just winning the knight. But it's hard to defend the knight, because if they, I don't know, try to defend with the queen, well, we win a rook. So that's not something they can do. They can try to move the knight, but now we can take the bishop, and if they take the bishop back with the queen, we win the rook again. So that's not something they can really do. Well, basically, let's see what the engine says. Knight takes d4 is best. Yeah, just giving up the piece and at least getting a pawn back. That's what the engine says, and that's how you know it's completely winning. And here, apparently, bishop d6 is even best, because they can't take, and we're still attacking the knight, and yeah, this is disaster, and yeah, we might even be winning 2 pieces here. Engine says knight takes f3 check. King d1 apparently. Not much to analyze here, but yeah. Rook c8. Kind of defense for now, but yeah, we are already up so much material. There's no point in calculating this. So that's something they can do. And they can develop their knight here, which is actually an interesting move. We can castle here, and sometimes the ideas with g5 still work here. So let's say they do something. I don't think it works in this position, but just to show you what the engine says. It is actually still okay. Problem is they can go knight h5 here, and that's always a thing when the bishop is still here. Knight h5 is a problem. It's still okay to play. We can take the bishop and go from here, and we still have a fine position. So you can go for this, especially in bullet games. Knight h5 is not a move they usually find. And if they go back with the knight somewhere, doesn't really matter. You can see by the evaluation, all our plans I showed before just work. And if they take here, it's basically the same thing. If we go into this, like I showed before, you can see by the evaluation, it's the same thing we showed before. They can go here, we can pin the knight, we can go here, bring our queen, win that piece, and win the game from there. So, yeah, but that's why g5 here isn't the strongest, but like I said, you can play it. e4 is actually the idea here. And that's in a lot of these positions because we just want to grab the full center. And the problem for them is really that we're also threatening to basically win a piece there and to fork them. So they need to respond to this. So usually they are just going to take. We're going to take back with the knight. And the reason is we just want to improve this knight. Also putting some pressure. And yeah, this is just a nice way to take control over the center. They're usually going to take back. We take back. They bring the queen. I've never seen this in a game, actually. If we take the bishop, let's just see what happens when the queen takes. Yeah, d5 is crushing. They can't take because of the pin. We're threatening to take, and that attacks the queen as well. And yeah, the king is still in the center. That's our main problem. So they can try to take back with the pawn, which stops things for now. We can play d5. Let's say they push. Oh, we're attacking the knight, of course. So they're gonna have to take. We take back with the queen, which is a nice line. Because it might look like we're losing the knight here, but we just bring a rook to the e-file and we pin that queen, and we're gonna win the queen. So they can't really take our knight here. We're just threatening to win a clean pawn. They still haven't castled. Best move is to castle queenside to defend that pawn. Let's see what the engine says. Like I said, I've never seen this in a game, but this is in my prep. Yeah, knight g3 apparently looks like the best move. Yeah, just improving our position. But basically, they're gonna play with this weakness all game. Our king is gonna tuck to b1 at some point and be safe there, and their king has a lot of weaknesses around it. Even if it tries to move over, it still has a lot of dark squared weaknesses, and it can't really easily move over to the other side of the board before we have a crushing winning position. So yeah, that's about it, I'd have to say. So going all the way back, if they play bishop g4, basically everything is good for us, I believe. Now in this exact position, the engine shows just plus 0.4, but you can see basically everything leads to something winning for us. They can find some really weird engine stuff and be alright, but yeah, I've never seen that. If you know all this I just showed you today, you're gonna win pretty much all your games against bishop g4. Of course, in bullet, weird things may happen. Like I said, if you pre-move this, then you lose your queen. That's a bad thing. But yeah, if you just be principled, you're gonna have a great time here. So I hope you can crush a lot of opponents with this as well. Let me know if you did. Also, let me know what you thought about this video. Like and subscribe for more of this. Maybe become a member, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.